Two world leaders in the midst of war head to the White House today for meetings with US President Donald Trump. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will sit down with Trump to discuss efforts to end the war with Russia. And the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu returns for his seventh meeting during President Trump's second term. He last visited Washington in February, just before the US and Israel launched a joint military campaign against Iran. Well, now, 5 months on, and as we enter the sixth month, the two leaders go into this meeting with differing goals about how to approach what has become an ongoing stalemate with no clear end in sight. Nick Robertson, following developments for us today, he is deployed in Jerusalem. Netanyahu very quick to point out that this is his seventh meeting since Donald Trump was re-elected. The first in-person meeting since the war with Iran, though, started February the 28th. It was before the war started that we know that Netanyahu and Trump sort of completed the planning for this joint campaign. What is, as we understand it, Benjamin Netanyahu taking in today? And perhaps more importantly, what does he want to leave Washington with this trip?
Yeah, he's carrying in the burden of dropping polls here in Israel. There are elections in 3 months' time. It's vital for him that he continues to have a strong and publicly positive relationship with President Trump when at times that relationship has been strained, not least over Lebanon, a little bit over Syria, somewhat over Gaza. And Prime Minister Netanyahu really took a political hammering at home when President Trump called a ceasefire on the war with Iran back in April. Prime Minister Netanyahu feels that there's unfinished business, feels that Iran still poses a nuclear threat, believes that under the current leadership, it's unlikely to get that problem alleviated. So he goes into this meeting wanting to get from the president strong commitments, undoubtedly, about the US continuing to press as hard and as aggressively as it has in the past about making sure that whatever nuclear deal the United States gets with Iran, it's robust, while witnessing at the same time President Trump in an absolute quandary about what to do about Iran's leverage over the Strait of Hormuz and how that weakens the US position. No easy options for the US president. So President Trump won't be looking to face a tough time from Prime Minister Netanyahu either. I mean, I think, you know, when you listen to what President Trump says, how he describes, Prime Minister Netanyahu, describes him as a great wartime prime minister. He seems to indicate that he wants to get away from a wartime, and perhaps this is no longer the era of Prime Minister Netanyahu, and that's not the image Netanyahu is going to want to come away with, and is also not going to want to get caught on the spot with President Trump, as so often visiting leaders do in the White House when the president is thrown a question about what about Prime Minister Netanyahu's displeasure with you selling or potentially going to sell F-35s to President Erdogan in Turkey. Just yesterday, President Trump said, "No one tells me what to do." If that comes up, that's not going to reflect very well on the Prime Minister. So the other thing is going to want to take away is an untarnished version of a great and strong relationship with the US president.
Good to have you, Nick. Nick's in Jerusalem.
My colleagues are reporting, I know you have reporting on this as well, Netanyahu plans to present Trump with fresh intelligence on the state of Iran's nuclear and military rebuilding. What are you hearing about this meeting?
So, as you said, this is the first time they will have met since the war began. And the president comes to this, he's got to feel a little bit misled by Prime Minister Netanyahu. When they first were meeting in Washington ahead of the war back in January and February of this year, Netanyahu was making the argument that a combined attack on Iran would result in the complete collapse of their government, that it would be a short war, that Israel had a plan for the replacement of the supreme leader at that time and the president of the country, and that this would just be a quick in and out at a moment of fragility in Iran. Everything about that prediction, Kate, turned out to be wrong. And now the president is somewhat trapped. He can't leave because the Strait of Hormuz is down to a trickle. There's a new threat now, of course, by the Red Sea. And the nuclear program, while buried, has almost been an afterthought for the president at this point. In fact, at moments, he has said, well, we can just sort of leave that where it is. Well, that was the cause of the war.
Yeah. And Kim, added into this now, the U.S. munitions stockpile issue. I mean, the president is talking about it. He said yesterday on Air Force One, we're in very good shape, but some of the more sophisticated stuff, we'd certainly like to have more. He blamed the previous administration for sending more advanced weapons to Ukraine. He said, we have a lot of the mid-level stuff. I'd like to have more, to be honest. What are you hearing about this aspect of it, Kim?
Well, the real threat in terms of the stockpile is how fast the Patriots are getting burned through. Something like half of the 2,000 Patriot supply prior to this war, according to SIS and other analysis, has been expended. That is the stuff that you need to protect Gulf capitals, to protect U.S. bases, and yes, to protect Ukrainian cities. And it is not being replenished fast enough to meet the level of this fight. So that is a problem that military officers, according to CNN's own reporting, have stressed to Trump. We basically can't keep up. And we're, according to the U.S. intelligence community, they're not getting any sort of strategic or behavioral change out of Iran for all of these munitions expended. And that's a reality that Trump can't change with slogans.
Yeah, and David, the fact that Trump's even talking about this.
Yeah, it is remarkable. We've done a lot of reporting. I know CNN has as well about the nature of these shortages. As Kim points out, the Patriots are the most severe, but not the only one. The administration so far has had three arguments, Kate. One has been there's no problem here, right? We're not being driven by this. Second is, well, we wish we had some more of some kind, as you suggested. So we do have a problem there. And third is, this is all state secrets and we ought to go find the leakers who are talking about this, which ignores the fact that both the Pentagon and private think tanks have been publishing these numbers for years about what our stockpile levels are. It is hardly a state secret, and it doesn't take much to do the math about where we are today. And among the others doing the math, the Chinese and the Russians.
David, Kim, it's great to see you guys. I really appreciate it. Important day at the White House, for sure.